Hey, what is up, guys? Today I'm going to be talking about vintage board games. Now, I love board games. If I go to a garage sale and I see board games and other stuff, that's the first area I'm going to hit. I go to the board games first. When I go to Goodwill, I go to the toy section first so I can see what board games they have. So it's one area that I really like buying stuff to flip. And so let me show you some of the vintage games and not so vintage games that I've picked up that you can easily flip on eBay or Amazon for some quick profits. Alright, first up we have Stratego. Now, anytime that I see a classic board game, something that's very popular, and I see an older version of it, I'm going to scan it. And this one I picked up at Goodwill for $2.99. Now, I'm trying to get it so there's not too much glare. Doesn't look like there is on this one. So, anyway, at $2.99, and on Amazon FBA, or on Amazon, the lowest FBA seller was $65. So, after fees, it'd be about $48 profit on this one. And it's in great shape overall. There's a little bit of damage to the board, but it's minimal, and it's not anything that most people would care about as long as I disclose it. Just some wear on it. So it's not so much damage, but more wear. And for the most part, it's going to bring in around $45. Now, there was an FBA seller that recently came on since I purchased this, and they came in at $29.99 when the lowest FBA was $65. The reason they came in that low is because if you read the description, it says some of the pieces are missing and it's been replaced with other pieces from a different version. Now, for one, you can't do that. You can't mix and match pieces from different versions and then try and sell it at the higher profit on the older versions. I mean, it doesn't work. And if somebody buys that and then they get it home and they open it up and they're all excited and they start looking at the pieces and it's a mismatched set, they're not going to be happy. So don't do that. It's one thing if you have to replace a die or something and it looks exactly the same and you disclose it, no big deal. But if it's the actual game pieces and they're saying in the description that they don't match, it's not going to fly. So anyway, that's going to be some good profit there. Now this is DWeeb, Geeks, and Weirdos. This one has some glare. This one is already wrapped up. Now this one I picked up from a garage sale as well. I paid $4 for this. And this has a much higher rank. It's ranked at 970,000 in toys, which is really high. But going into Q4, I think the chances of selling it are fairly high. Even though it's not going to sell very many, copies a year, it's just going to sell a few here and there. I've sold something that was ranked, I think, 1,200,000, I think. And I've actually sold it. So I've sold things with ranks higher than that. And so I believe I'll be able to get a decent profit for this one. This one, again, the lowest FBA I think was listed around 65 as well for this one. Now this is not a vintage game. Friends seen it, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because there's really not that many pieces to it. There's a deck of cards that have 150 that you have to count, but other than that, it's pretty easy to see if all the pieces are there. And once I send it to FBA, I'll get around $12 after fees, which isn't a whole lot, but I constantly find these, and I can pick them up for like $1 or $2. And so since it's $1 or $2, all I got to do is count the pieces real quick, and it's pretty simple. It's an extra $10 in my shipment each time. So if I see these, I always pick them up as long as they're in decent condition and have all the pieces. Now again, with the popular games that have been around for a long time, this is Life, and this one after the fees was going to bring in $25 after fees. Once I have to count the pieces. There's a lot of pieces here. Or, the money, I'm not sure how to count exactly because I don't know how much money was in it originally. So I don't know that I'm going to end up sending this one to Amazon. But I got to go through it still. Haven't checked this one. But again, anytime I see the old versions of a popular game, I'm going to be scanning it. Now this is Scooby-Doo Monopoly. And again, there's so many versions of Monopoly. Most of the regular Monopoly aren't worth a whole lot, but occasionally there's ones like this that they stopped making and have a following. People like Scooby-Doo, they like Monopoly. It's a collector's item. This one has, a dented in box right here. Something heavy was placed on top of it. But after fees, it's going to be around $48 on this one. And I paid $1.99 at Goodwill. Now, this one right here, the Wizard of Oz game. If you see this, I'd avoid it in the future. This is not a good purchase for me. After fees, it's going to be about $10. But what happened was I was at a garage sale. It was really hot. It was directly in the sun, and I was looking at my Amazon app, and I thought I hit the collectible tab after I scanned it, and apparently it was still in the new tab. And I looked at it and I saw that it was $70 profit, and I was looking at the new version, but I thought it was looking at the collectible version. So I was like, oh man, I just got a home run right here. Picked it up. I talked him down. I overpaid. I think I ended up paying $5 for this right here. After I count all the pieces, which is very few in this game, I can ship it in and make $10 and make, $5 profit. Really not worth my time. It's, a bigger game, which if I'm sending in big games, no big deal. But if I have a smaller shipment and it gets routed to a different center because it's considered a large item, it's not worth my time. So that was a bad purchase, but I just had it in my stack and I thought it was what it wasn't because I forgot to hit the collectible tab. And I was looking at the new price, so that was kind of a waste of my time and money. So anyway, so those are some vintage games that I find. I love flipping vintage games. I wouldn't say it's my specialty because I'm not an expert, but it is something that I really like doing and I enjoy doing. So I don't mind going through counting pieces. If you don't like counting pieces, if they're going to sit in your death pile forever until you get to them, don't look at vintage games. But for me, they're very profitable, and I can find them. I can find them all the time. I find them in Goodwills. I find them in yard sales. And what I like about it is there's so many out there. There's such a variety that I could thrift for the entire summer and not come across the exact same game the entire summer hitting garage sales, but I'm still finding plenty of profitable games. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button.